Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. For today's video, we are going to be going through an article on Bleacher Report titled Ambitious 2020 Free Agent Targets for Every NBA Team. So what I want you to do is go in the comment section below. Let me know a free agent target for your favorite team that you think your team possibly could get. Like, there's a big chance they won't, but at the same time, it's like, but what if? Like, what if that does happen, right, man? So, yeah, this should be very, very interesting, guys. And also, man, if you don't mind dropping a like on this video, 1,000 likes is always the goal. And, yeah, if you guys enjoy content like this, I do a lot of, like, reaction videos over on my second channel, Extra Crispy. I'm about 5K subscribers away from 100K, guys. Get myself a brand new plaque out there. Can't wait. So, yeah, if you don't mind subscribing over there, link to that in the description below. Let's go ahead, man, and get started on this. Alrighty, so the first one we have is via restricted free agency would be Brandon Ingram to the Atlanta Hawks. The only way I could see something like this happening is, perhaps if the Pelicans don't think that Brandon Ingram is worth the max contract, which he most definitely is. Like, I'm definitely giving Brandon Ingram a max contract based on last NBA season. I feel like him with Zion Williamson just is like the perfect dynamic duo going forward for that young Pelicans team. But at the same time, man, like if he ended up going to the Hawks, like he would be, once again, it would be another great dynamic duo with Trae Young out there. It'd be the perfect small forward. I don't mind DeAndre Hunter. I mean, he wasn't like the greatest last season. And obviously, Brandon Ingram would be a big time improvement. But yeah, man, either way, it's like I fully expect Ingram to stay with the Pelicans and, accept any offer that the any other team throws his way will get accepted by the Hawks. Or I'm sorry, by the Pelicans. Hopefully by the Hawks, if you're a Hawks fan. Next up, we got Aron Baynes to the Boston Celtics. So, yeah, man, Aron Baynes was actually on the Celtics not too long ago, and if they knew he was going to be playing as good as he did this previous season for the Phoenix Suns, they definitely would have held on to him. He's kind of like the opposite of Daniel Tice in the sense that, they're both centers and stuff like that, but Daniel Tice is more like versatile, and there's a lot of different ways you can play him, where at the same, with Aron Baynes, he's a lot more of like a big boy out there, man, but he can still knock down the three-point shot. He would actually fit in instantly with the rest of the Boston Celtics team. It actually would have been nice to have a different rotation of, Tice and Aron Baynes. So, yeah, I mean, he's been on the team before, assuming he wants to go back there. I don't see why this definitely could not happen if they have enough money to throw his way. Enes Kanter will be off the books, so there you go. There's the money to go and get Aron Baynes. All right, next up we got Mo Harkless to the Brooklyn Nets. So, yeah, Mo Harkless is a pretty solid, 3-and-D type of player out there. I remember him mostly playing the Portland Trail Blazers. Then, of course, he ended up getting, I believe, traded away from that team. And I think he was on the Clippers, and now he's on the New York Knicks, I guess. I mean, like I said, I've not really paid too much attention to his career since the Portland Trail Blazers. But yeah, the Brooklyn Nets, you can never have enough of like these veteran wing players on the team. And yeah, Kevin Durant might not end up being the healthiest next season. So if he has to sit out a few games for load management or whatever, having a guy like Mo Harkless out there, to fill in, definitely is not a bad way to go. All right, next up we got Malik Beasley to the Charlotte Hornets, once again via restricted free agency, or restricted contract, I should say. Okay, I guess if the Hornets were to go for Malik Beasley, see, what I would actually maybe kind of prefer is if they do decide to go that route, do some sort of sign trade with either Devontae Graham or with Terry Rozier, because if you have Malik Beasley, you simply don't need both those guys already. I mean, they're already 2 point guards that one of them's playing the shooting guard position and stuff, but by getting Malik Beasley, you get yourself a solid three-point shooter out there. I do actually hope he stays with Minnesota Timberwolves. He seemed to have found himself a nice home last season when he was traded over there from the Denver Nuggets. But at the same time, if you were to go to the Charlotte Hornets, it would be nice to see what a guy like that could do in a role, on a team that's not really looking to make the playoffs, or not going to make the playoffs, right? So, because that's kind of what was his issue on the Nuggets was that it was just a good player stuck on a really, really good team, and, he just didn't simply get the minutes he deserved. Next up, we got Derrick Jones Jr. to the Chicago Bulls. Yeah, I'd like him, playing that 3 or 4 spot. Probably as a bench player. I definitely want to start him out there now with Otto Porter. If something happens with him, then sure, I guess you could start Derrick Jones Jr. But he's somebody that, once again, man, I love that word versatile, right? Like, he could play with Larry Markkinen on the court. He could play with Otto Porter if need be. He could play with Wendell Carter. He could play with any of those guys out there, any of those type of lineups. Good athleticism. The shooting's getting much better. At first he was simply just like a really good, high athletic player in the NBA. But now he is actually adding some more stuff to his game out there. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure they could probably get him on a pretty cheap contract and somebody that could continue to grow with the Chicago Bulls organization. Next up, we got Derrick Jones Jr. to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They need a 3 out there. I mean, same stuff as the Bulls. Okay, moving on. Next up, we got Jay Crowder to the Dallas Mavericks. You know what? So since he actually played there about 5 years ago. But no, Jay Crowder is just one of those players that fits in with the identity of the Dallas Mavericks. When I look at the Mavericks now, it's, obviously Luka, Kristaps, that's the main two right there. But then the rest of the roster is just like really solid NBA players that know how to play the game right, and they know their role. And that's Jay Crowder. This guy knows how to play his role in the NBA. That's actually why I also like him, the Miami Heat, because I feel like the Miami Heat are kind of built with that same type of mindset too. So, somebody that would be just be a nice additional piece to play alongside Luka and the rest of the crowd out there. Okay, we got Jay Crowder to the Denver Nuggets. Same, I guess. I don't like how this is like having like the same player right after it. Yeah. Good wing player, veteran, Denver Nuggets. Let's move on. Next up, we got Fred VanVleet to the Detroit Pistons. So as a Piston fan, I could only dream to end up getting Fred VanVleet. I would not want to give him a max contract because it's just, that's a lot of money, right? But Fred VanVleet, he has a championship under his belt. He's played for a winner, an organization that wins basketball games. Obviously, he has chemistry with Dwayne Casey, and I don't expect to get him. I don't think the Toronto Raptors let go of this guy for any reason, and the reason I say that is because, Kyle Lowry is getting older, and they are actually really blessed to have an opportunity to, once Kyle Lowry does retire, hey, you have your franchise point guard already all groomed and ready to go. Now, I could only see the big issue being maybe Fred is ready to take over as a point guard and be the main guy in a team. And if they decide to stick with Kyle Lowry for a few more seasons, he might not want to wait around. So you can kind of see that happening. Similar to, once upon a time, Reggie Jackson playing behind Russell Westbrook. Now, Fred VanVleet is much better than Reggie Jackson. So, maybe this time will work out for the Pistons. Next up, we got Marc Gasol to the Golden State Warriors. I'm 1 billion% all for this right here. For just like a 1 year contract, like 1 year, $6 million. Marc Gasol goes to that team, fills in the void at the center position. Marc Gasol can do everything out there, right? And the thing about him is that the things he does really well, when he was on the Memphis Grizzlies not too long ago, he did those things well all the time, consistently. Now it's like, okay, you might get like 20 minutes of good old Marc Gasol out there, and that's all the Golden State Warriors need. Defense is still, one of the best, I would say, defensive centers in the NBA. Not like the best, obviously, but he's definitely still up there, right? Very high basketball IQ and stuff, so good passing abilities. And what's the other one play they're going to play? Kevon Looney or Marquise Chris, somebody like that. Marquise Chris was actually nice at times. But no, Marc Gasol to the Golden State Warriors. It makes sense for so many reasons. Next up, we do have Jerami Grant with a player option to the Houston Rockets. Yeah, I kind of have Jerami Grant like in that same mold as I do as like a Robert Covington, maybe even like a PJ Tucker, which ironically all those guys play for the Houston Rockets, right, man? But no, Jerami Grant, 3-and-D player, knows this role, would fit perfectly alongside, James Harden, and I think actually eventually gives them sort of a replacement for PJ Tucker. I don't think he should be playing any small ball center. I really don't like PJ Tucker doing that, but having a team with, Robert Covington and Jerami Grant, that's really good defense on the perimeter and stuff, so I like that a lot. Next up, we got Joe Harris to the Indiana Pacers. If I was the Brooklyn Nets, I probably would not let go of Joe Harris. Three-point specialists are very high sought in the NBA, especially when you have a team with Kyrie Irving on there. You definitely want guys that can kind of open up the lane for him even more. So, Joe Harris, I would like him to stay in the Brooklyn Nets. But going to the Pacers, I don't know if I really see the fit completely because the team does need three-point shooting. They're actually one of the bottom teams in the NBA when it comes to three-point makes on the season. But a lot of that is Oladipo wasn't really playing a lot, and he really, once he's back completely healthy, that should hopefully fix itself. But I don't really know if the minutes are there for him to play because they already got TJ Warren. They got Jeremy Lamb, Malcolm Brogdon, Victor Oladipo. I think Aaron Holiday is still on the team, so I just don't know if the fit's actually there. Next up, we got Marc Gasol to the Los Angeles Clippers. This would actually be nice for one season also because I do expect Montrezl Harrell to be one of those guys that could end up going to a different team. And it's just because in the end of the day, salary cap is a thing in the NBA, and the Clippers do have to make a choice. Do they want to pay the man a near max contract? I think that's probably what some teams are going to toss his way. Or do you think, you already have enough and a guy like a Zubac or even a Marc Gasol could fit in? But what I like about Marc Gasol for a one-year contract is that it fits in right with the window of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. All those guys would be coming off the books at the same exact time. So from there, they could either decide, okay, do we want to continue with Kawhi and Paul George if they want to resign here? Or you have all this salary cap open for the 2021 NBA offseason. Okay, next we got Goran Dragic to the Los Angeles Lakers. Yeah, man, Goran Dragic can definitely still ball out. He's been pretty solid for the Miami Heat. But I could see the Miami Heat making a big move this free agency, going for like a Chris Paul or somebody like that. I guess that'd be via trade, not free agency. They got Kendrick Nunn, who of course could be the future starting point guard for the team for a long time now. So Goran Dragic, he is better than Rondo. I mean, he would fit in so much more with what the Lakers do out there, and he wouldn't need to be playing like an all-star or anything like that. I mean, he could be like a fourth or fifth scoring option on the team, and that'd be completely fine, and the Lakers would be that much better for it. Next up, we got Tony Snell to the Memphis Grizzlies. Okay, I like to say this about Tony Snell. I love him on contenders. I don't like him on rebuilding teams. Memphis Grizzlies are not either one of those things. With that being said, Tony Snell on the Memphis Grizzlies, what does it accomplish exactly? Not much if you ask me. I'd much rather see them go for a younger player or, of course, continue playing Dylan Brooks out there. They got Justice Winslow, who they definitely got to work in the rotation. I'd much rather see Tony Snell go to a contending team like the Lakers, like the Clippers, somebody like that, go back to the Milwaukee Bucks, and just be Tony Snell, which is all we really ask from him these days anyway. Next, we got Gallinari to the Miami Heat. Yeah, I will actually toss in Chris Paul with this one, too, because I feel like both those guys would be great for the Heat. But no, Gallinari is actually a free agent, so it makes sense that Chris Paul is not listed. Yeah, we've been saying this forever. He'd fit nicely alongside Bam, give them a solid 17-point per game score that doesn't really demand the basketball, but knows what to do when he has the basketball, which is very important, to just like the philosophy of a lot of teams out there. Okay, next we got Joe Harris to the Milwaukee Bucks. I do like this. I think there is room out there for him to play. I think Wesley Matthews, his time is probably up pretty damn soon here. He can still do something for a few seasons, but I would much rather, have them go with Dante DiVincenzo at the shooting guard spot, and then Joe Harris. Obviously, you could back up him and also Chris Middleton. And, you have a guy that really, one of the top-notch three-point shooters playing alongside Giannis. Cannot ask for much more than that. And plus, it's probably a low-dollar move, too, so that'd be nice. Next up, we got Paul Millsap to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Okay. Yes, I would like this to happen, though, if the Minnesota Timberwolves draft their future starting power forward, like an Obi Toppin or somebody like that, because then I feel like if they have Paul, because Obi Toppin would not be ready to go next season, he'd obviously play, but he's not going to go out there and win, Rookie of the Year or nothing like that. Paul Millsap would be a good mentor to him, and in the meantime, you have a veteran in the locker room that knows how to play defense, and which is something that typically doesn't really work out for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Although they had Robert Covington, they couldn't really play good defense. So I don't know if Paul Millsap at the age of 97 is going to fix that. But if the deal's right, sure, why not? Like I said, man, would be a good mentor to their future starting power forward if they find that guy. Plus, he's not Juancho Hernan-Gomez, whatever that dude's name is. So you're already winning because of that. Next up, we got Serge Ibaka to the Pelicans. Yes, man, this would be a very, very nice addition to that team. I was not too happy when they decided to go with Derrick Favors as the starting center alongside Zion, just because, Zion's three-point shot is fine. I don't think it's anything to exactly go crazy about. I mean, we all saw his first debut game and stuff, and he made 5 in a row. I don't expect that to happen very often, so you do want a guy that can open up the lane for crazy-ass athletic Zion out there, and Derrick Favors just doesn't really fit that. It's kind of sad. With whatever team Derrick goes to, he never fits. Because, he was the power forward alongside, I think it was Rudy Gobert for a long time. Did not work out, man. But Serge Ibaka, you still get a good, decent enough defensive player. Not as good as he once was, but the offense is still there. Came off one of his best seasons in the NBA. So, yeah. Okay, next up, we got Fred VanVleet to the New York Knicks. Yes, if the deal is right once again. Like I said, man, about Fred VanVleet earlier, he brings that winner's mentality, which the Knicks definitely need within their locker room. As a Piston fan, I feel so bad for Knicks fans that I will actually allow you guys to have Fred VanVleet. I know as a Piston fan, I don't have much room to talk, but at least we have a championship back in 2004, so you guys can have Fred VanVleet. We'll draft LaMelo Ball. That sounds good. Okay. Next up, we got KCP to the OKC Thunder. Yeah, he's better than Terrence Ferguson. And that's about all you could ask for from these days. That's all I got to say about KCP. Next up, Goran Dragic to the Orlando Magic. I am at the point with the Magic where I'm kind of okay with them just going all in with Markelle Fultz. And, I mean, if they want to use Goran as a six-man, sure, why not? I guess you could have a different type of point guard to back up Markelle Fultz. That'd be fine. I feel like DJ Augustine could also just be fine there. Get a guy like a Trey Burke, somebody like that. I don't think Goran Dragic's I don't think his services would really be needed on the Magic. I'd much rather see him go to a contender, like I said earlier. Next up, we got Langston Galloway to the Philadelphia 76ers. So as a Piston fan, I will say Langston Galloway, probably not the most talked about player in the NBA, but there's been a lot of times where this guy has been instant offense for the team. Like, really, when this guy gets hot, he can definitely win some games for your teams just based simply off of just having one of those games. He would play very nicely off Ben Simmons, give them a pretty consistent three-point shooter. Yeah, he's been solid for the Pistons. I'm actually going to be sad when he leaves the team eventually, just because, he was somebody that was a bit more reliable on a team that really had no reliability. And a guy like Langston probably should be contending somewhere. Okay, next up we got Bogdanovic via restricted free agency to the Phoenix Suns. Sure, could play small forward, I guess, alongside Devin Booker. He's a good offensive player. I don't really think the Kings are going to let him go, though, because they kind of already, pissed off Buddy Hield. So I don't really expect Bogdan to leave, which is why I don't really have much to say about him. Next up, we got Jerami Grant to the Portland Trailblazers. Yes. So the Portland Trailblazers, their wing players, Melo. Who knows what Melo's going to be like next season. Ronnie Hood is coming off a bad injury. Nazir Little is probably a few years away. They need guys like Jerami Grant on that team. They need it so bad. Not too long ago, they had Mo Harkless, like we talked about at the beginning of the video. They also had, what's the one dude's name? Alfred Camino. And they were much better as a team when they had guys like that on the court, and they just don't have that anymore. Jerami Grant would definitely help them out. Next, we got Jay Crowder to the Sacramento Kings. I'm sorry, man. Jay Crowder's not going to fix that team. Okay, next up, we got Dario Saric to the San Antonio Spurs. I could actually see a lineup of DeJounte, maybe a little Derrick White here and there, DeMar, Dario, LaMarcus Aldridge. Be a little interesting. Okay, sure, why not? Next up, we got Justin Holiday to the Toronto Raptors. I don't think he's really needed on that team. I feel like the Toronto Raptors actually have plenty of depth as if. They got Norman Powell, of course. Terrence Davis, I think, is going to get even better next season. I think he's going to end up being one of the best bench players in the NBA. They also have, what's that one dude's name? It's like Matt Thomas or something like that, I believe. Who I actually think should probably get some more playing time himself. He can definitely be a three-point specialist. Yeah, Justin Holiday not really needed on the team there. Okay, next up, we got Jeff Teague to the Utah Jazz. Yeah, good solid backup point guard. For a while there, they had Dante Exum. He ended up getting traded away, I think, to the, was it the Knicks? I don't remember. Dante got traded away. They, of course, brought in Mike Conley. Mike Conley, not really working out. We got better towards the latter part of the season, of course. But, those games where where Mike Conley's playing bad, it would be nice to have a guy like Jeff Teague coming off the bench, just because they didn't really have like that reliable bench leader when Mike Conley was struggling. Jeff Teague could definitely be that. And last, but certainly not least, but kinda, we got the Washington Wizards with Derrick Jones Jr. They need to just go for the best defensive players. You guys got to go get Andre Roberson. You got to bring Tony Allen out of retirement. Go give Shane Battier a call, and then you'll be good to go. That's all we got, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and peace out, my friends.